when we are working with the collections, so that it will reduce the runtime errors as well as it will increase your performance. Do remember to override equals method in for all the classes which objects you are going to put in any type of a collection, either it is a set, list or map. And make sure that you are overriding hash code method as well for those classes which instance you are going to put in a hashed type of a collection, either in a hash set or hash map or something like that. There is a contract between equals and hash code method which is very nicely given on Java Talks. So I hope we all are aware of that, but I will just strongly say if we are not, we should go through that and we should see that we are adhering that specific contract and putting it in our code. Do not override hash code to return either unique value for each and every object, which normally a Java implementation, basic object class implementation is doing, and either return a very constant value for all the objects. Hash code is used to identify a bucket where that object will get stored. So hash code should be generated in such a way so that all the objects which we are storing in a hashing type of a collection will be in a balanced way in all the buckets, so that it will not happen that it is just going on increasing the number of buckets and in each bucket we have a single object, or neither it should happen that in a single bucket all objects we are putting. So if you are giving a constant value, like say in a hash code method returns 5, number 5, so it will say like the bucket allocated for number 5 will be used for all the objects of that specific class. So it doesn't provide you a better performance when you are going to get or any check operations over a collection, because when you are getting the values from that type of a collection, it has to go through the linear search from that specific bucket, or neither having a huge number of buckets will degrade a performance when you are iterating over that specific collection. So when you are overriding a hash code method, make sure that you are giving a proper implementation for a hash code method so that your objects in that specific collection will be in a balanced way. Then always keep your equals and hash code method in sync. That the same thing which I just said is what maintain the contract between hash code and equals method, where the contract says like a two equal objects according to the equal method should always return the same hash code. When we are when the requirement is something like you wanted to return a sorted kind of a collection, so don't create the collection like a tree set kind of object at first and keep adding the elements to that tree set. It will ask tree set to each and every insertion to reorder the existing objects according to the given comparison criteria. Instead of that, you can use a hash set object and add all the instances to the hash set object, and then finally create a tree set from that like a sorted set and then return it, so that the reordering or rearranging of all elements according to the comparison criteria will happen only once, and in this way we can gain some certain performance. Then for hashing kind of a thing or any collection which is like a growable, we have two values like initial capacity as well as the load factor. Initial capacity talks about that what should be the initial set of how many elements it can have with the initial memory allocation. So that is what initial capacity, and the load factor is talks about after filling how much of that initial memory it should go on the growing phase. So the initial capacity should not be very small so that it will keep on creating a new array. If it is, let's say, array list, so it is backed as array list is backed by array, So in case of like when we are adding elements to array list and when it's come to the load factor of its initial capacity, let's say initial capacity is 10 and load factor is 7. So when you will fill 70, so 0.70, that is what like in value. So when it will come, when it reaches to the element 7 and when you are adding the 8th element, it will create a new array, it will copy all the elements over there and then it will put over there. So the similar way it will go on the existing size with the point with multiplied by the load factor. So make sure that you are giving appropriate initial capacity and load factor for the collection instance so that it will not going to create the underlying data structure like array each time again and again and then copying the things, so as you can gain the performance over there as well. While using collections as an attribute type in your class, like many a times we do, like there is a class and containing a list type of attributes, let's say like students and having a marks. So you have marks is what type of a list. So never expose that directly by making a public attribute or by providing a getter setter methods like get marks or set marks. Rather that you can provide getter setter methods for the element of collection. If you are providing getter setter methods or if you are exposing that collection itself by using a getter and setter, then it might possible that your collection itself can directly be changed by the calling function. Use array list for one-time adding and many-time iteration scenario. Where like array list is what backed by array, so iteration or fetching of a data is list. It takes least time in the arrays because it is like values can be accessed with the help of indexes directly. So when we have like one-time adding and multiple time fetching kind of a scenario, then we should go with the array list instead of a linked list. And when we have multiple time adding, removing and all those things and less iterations, then we can go with a linked list, because for iterating over a linked list, it's a linear way and it has to go with from one node to another, so it takes more time compared to array list. But for adding element, it doesn't need to swap the all the elements and all those things just way the way like we need to do it with arrays. So adding or removing the elements in between is what little bit easy with the help of linked list, but still like iterating over a linked list is what costly affair. Array list provides high performance for positional access, where linked list provides high performance for additional deletion in between or compared to each other. Create an array list instance with appropriate capacity to avoid creating and copying elements to new internal array while growing. It's just same like which we discussed earlier, that initial capacity and load factor should be given with the proper way. Getting nth element in linked list requires sequential scan from start to end, and this is very slow. So as I said, like if you want arbitrarily you want to fetch the values, then it's better to go with the array list, because we are accessing arrays with the help of indexes. So nth element of that array can be given in the same time the way like you are getting a first or second last element. It is good programming practice to use the highest level abstraction for the object specification wherever possible. In a simple meaning, it is said that like your all references should be of a type of interfaces defined in the collection framework, and then object should be of obviously a class type. So the interface, the references should be either of a type of list, map, or set, whereas the instances of that specific implementation you will create. So each time give the appropriate abstraction so that it will give you the highest level of abstraction as well as give you the free hand to change your implementation anytime. Array DQ class is likely to be faster than stack when used as a stack, and faster than a linked list when used as a queue. So it's better now that we can use array DQ, which is added in a 6 if we want to work with a stack or a queue kind of a mechanism.